Hi, I'm Mike from 1A Auto. We've been selling auto parts for over 30 years.
What's up guys, I'm Andy from 1A Auto. Here I'm going to be removing and reinstalling a wiper motor on this 2008 Chevy Silverado work truck. If you need parts for your vehicle, click the link in the description and head over to 1aauto.com. Alright, we're going to start by opening the hood right next to the kick panel. Pull on that lever. Then underneath the hood there's a catch right here. Move it to the right there. Lift up on the hood. Right, now there's a little cover over the wiper arm. I'm just going to take a straight blade screwdriver. You could also take a 90-degree pick, get underneath here. There's a little latch, and then slide that up, and then you can access the nut. Now I'm going to use a 15mm socket, an extension, and a ratchet. I'm going to loosen up this nut, take it off. Once it's loose, you can grab it with your hand. Pull that off. Now I'm going to grab the wiper arm. Just rock it up and down to release it down below on the shaft. Slide it up, just like that, and then twist it. Now there is the washer nozzle hose. We're going to disconnect that down here. Just slide that off, just like that. And pull the arm off. And now I'm going to do the same and take the other side off. I'm going to remove this cover on this side. I'm going to use some trim tools. Just get underneath here. Just pry up. Then use my hand to pry up over here. Underneath here. Just pry up over here. Just like that. Slide this out. There's these clips that hold it on. I'm going to do the same with the other side. The other side has the antenna, so I'm going to have to be a little more careful. Sometimes the hood gets in your way, so you might have to close the hood. Just close it down a little bit. You can slide up. Just slide this over the antenna. There's the 3 clips. Set that aside. There's a 7mm bolt right there, or screw. I'm going to use a 7mm socket, extension, and a ratchet. Take this one out. There's one on this side as well. Take this screw out. Now I'm going to lift the hood back up. All right, with the hood up, we can remove this screw. It's a 7mm as well. And the passenger side, there's one as well. Remove this one. All right, now I'm going to take these 2 clips off. There's one on either side of the cowl. I'm just going to use a straight blade screwdriver, get underneath the pick, underneath the clip, slide it out. Just grab it and pull it out. All right, we have this ground strap that goes to the hood. Ours is actually broken here, so I don't have to disconnect anything. If you wanted to, you could take that 10mm nut off right there. Just use a 10mm socket and a ratchet. All right, before I pull the cowl up completely, there is a push pin on the back side here. Just going to use a trim tool, slide underneath it, pry it up. Be careful not to crack the windshield while you're doing this. Sometimes that's difficult to do, so I'm just going to take a longer trim tool, get it from underneath. And just pry it out. This is actually a washer hose. You can disconnect over here. Underneath here is a junction. You can just spread it. Just disconnect it right there. Pull the washer hose through. And then pull the cowl straight out. All right, now I'm going to disconnect this electrical connector. Make sure your hands are free from the wiper transmission in case something starts moving. So just push down on the button and then slide the connector out. Little button on the back side right there. Push that, it slides right out. Now I'm going to remove these 3 bolts right here, and right there for the wiper transmission. I'm going to use a 10mm socket and a ratchet. All right, now we're going to remove the wiper transmission. It's a little tricky. You need to set this side down low here. Try to get this side out on the passenger side a little bit, and then slide it. And then just maneuver it out. Be careful when you're doing this. You don't want to crack the windshield. And slide it out. If you're replacing the window regulator, you're going to have to transfer these marks over to the other regulator. So just keep in mind roughly the location of that arm right there. Now I'm going to take a wrench. I'm going to slide it over this arm right here. This happens to be a 1 1/8 wrench. Fits over there good. Then I'll take another wrench, a 13mm wrench. I'm going to loosen this nut. Once it's loose, should be able to take this nut off pretty easily. Take that off. I'm going to take a pry bar. I'm just going to pry up on the arm. Underneath here. Take that arm off. Move it to the side. And I want to remove these 3 Torx bolts. I'm going to use a T30 and a ratchet. Loosen these bolts up. And then we can remove the transmission from the motor. Before we install the wiper motor into the transmission, we want to make sure the motor is in the correct position. So what we're going to do is we're going to hook it back up to the vehicle. Whether you're replacing the motor or replacing the transmission, this is a good thing to do. And then we're going to turn the key on, and then I'm going to cycle the wiper motor once to make sure it goes to the park position. It's easiest to do if you put it in intermittent mode and watch it cycle once and then shut the key off right away. All right, now that it's stopped, now I can shut the key off. And I know that that motor is in the park position. Disconnect the electrical connector. Now I'm going to take the wiper motor, line this in position, and I'll get these Torx screws started. We're going to take this arm, get this in this position. Remember, try to line it up with the marks that you made. Take the nut, install the nut. Take the 1 1/8 wrench to hold the arm. Take a 13mm wrench and we'll snug up the nut. Make sure the arm's tight. That's good. Now we're ready to reinstall this in the vehicle. Move this ground strap out of the way. Make sure your wire's out of the way. Just slide it in on the driver's side first. And get the bolt holes lined up. Just like that. We'll take the 10mm bolts, get those started. Get them all started before you tighten them down. that those are all started, we can snug them down with a 10mm socket and a ratchet. All right, snug those up. That's good. Now we can take the electrical connector. Make sure your fingers are clear of any moving parts when you plug this in, because if the wiper is not in the proper location, it's going to move. Before I install the cowl, I want to push this push pin out. It'll just make it easier to get install in the right position. Just push it through. Pull that out. All right, now I'm gonna slide this in position. Move that ground strap if it's in your way. And slide this up here. Might have to bend it a little bit. And then make sure you get this hose for the washer. This has got to go down here. Once this whole thing's in position, then we can actually connect the washer hose. Just connect this up here to the hose. All right, that's reconnected. Now there's a retainer right below this hinge spring. And that's good. Before I install this push pin, I'm gonna get these 7mm screws started. That one right there. There's also one up here. Yep, that one started there, and then this one started. Now that those are started, I can push this push pin in. Over here. Might have to wiggle it a little bit to get it to line up properly. And there we go. I'm going to tighten these screws down with a 7mm socket and a ratchet. And we'll just snug those down, all 4 of those, and just snug, not too tight. It is plastic. Now we're going to reinstall these 2 clips. There's one on this side and one on the passenger side. Just slide it on. I'm going to reinstall this cover. Just push the hood down a little bit. This side, we're going to go over the antenna. Then you gotta kind of angle this below the fender a little bit. And push it down, lock it in place. Same with this side. Under the fender. Lock it in place. All right, we're gonna take the wiper arm, just line this up. Position. It's actually a little bit easier to take and install the washer hose now. Just get that lined up and push it on. Just like that. Now that the arm's on, we'll just push it down. Now on the windshield, there is a little mark. Generally, there's a little tab where the wiper should go. You can line that up with that. If it doesn't, you could mark it before you take it off, or just position the blades where you would want the blades to be. I'm going to take the wiper nut, install the nut, and push down on the arm when you're installing the nut. A 15mm socket, extension, and a ratchet. I'll just tighten this down. Now I'm going to take a torque wrench and the 15mm socket. I'm going to torque this nut down to 22 foot-pounds. And I can take the cover and lock the cover back down. I'll do the same with the other one.
Thanks for watching. Visit us at oneauto.com for quality auto parts, fast and free shipping, and the best customer service in the industry.